Sometimes it hits out of nowhere. You're standing in line, driving home, or scrolling your phone, and suddenly your body feels tense, distant, or on edge. Your heart races. Your mind goes foggy. You tell yourself to calm down, but nothing changes. It can feel confusing, even embarrassing, like something is wrong with you. But this isn't weakness. It isn't a personality flaw, and it's not just emotional. What you're experiencing has a clear explanation inside the brain. Today, we're going to bring psychological clarity to reactions that often feel mysterious, so you can finally understand what's really happening beneath the surface. You might recognize this in small, ordinary moments. You overthink a neutral text. Your body tightens during a harmless conversation. You feel exhausted after social interactions that seem easy for everyone else. Sometimes you disconnect emotionally, like you're watching yourself from a distance. Other times, your reactions feel too intense for the situation in front of you. These experiences can make daily life feel heavier than it should, and you may quietly wonder why things that appear simple take so much energy. What's important to understand is that these responses don't come from being overly sensitive, dramatic, or weak. They often show up in people who are attentive, thoughtful, and deeply perceptive. Many carry them silently, assuming they should be able to handle it better. But this isn't a personal failure. It's a learned pattern shaped over time. If any of this feels familiar, hear this clearly. You're not broken. Your nervous system is doing something it learned to do for a reason. What if the reactions you struggle with aren't signs of something going wrong, but evidence that something once went very right? The brain's primary job is not happiness, productivity, or confidence. Its job is survival. When a brain is exposed to stress, unpredictability, or emotional threat, it reorganizes itself around protection. It becomes faster at detecting danger, quicker to react, and harder to calm. From the outside, this can look like anxiety, shutdown, or overreaction. On the inside, it's an intelligent system doing exactly what it was trained to do. Your brain didn't fail you. It adapted. It learned patterns that reduced risk and increased safety in earlier environments, even if those same patterns now create discomfort or confusion. This reframe changes everything. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" the more accurate question becomes, "What did my brain learn to protect me from?" That shift opens the door to understanding, rather than self-judgment. And understanding is where real change begins. Imagine your brain like a home with a highly sensitive smoke alarm. In a calm, predictable environment, that alarm only goes off when there's real danger. Actual smoke, real fire. But if that home once experienced frequent fires, the alarm gets recalibrated. It becomes louder, faster, and easier to trigger. This is similar to how certain brain systems work under long-term stress. Areas designed to detect threat become highly efficient, while systems responsible for reflection and choice may activate more slowly in tense moments. The result isn't malfunction, it's overprotection. Your body reacts before your thinking mind can weigh in. That's why your reaction can feel disproportionate to the present moment, even when you logically know you're safe. The brain isn't asking, "Is this rational?" It's asking, "Does this feel familiar to past danger?" Understanding this model helps separate who you are from what your nervous system is doing. This is where the internal conflict begins. Part of you knows you're safe, capable, and competent, and yet another part reacts as if something urgent is about to go wrong. That split can feel frustrating, even self-defeating. You might tell yourself to relax, think positively, or just stop, but the reaction keeps happening anyway. That's because these responses don't come from conscious choice. They're initiated in fractions of a second, before intention or logic has time to engage. In those moments, your brain prioritizes speed over accuracy. It chooses automatic patterns that once worked, rather than thoughtful evaluation that takes more time. This isn't a failure of discipline or willpower. It's the nervous system doing what it was shaped to do under pressure. For many people, the most unsettling part isn't the fear itself. It's the disconnection, the sudden numbness, the feeling of going blank or far away when things feel too intense. Your thoughts slow down, your emotions flatten, and it can seem like you're no longer fully inside your own body. That experience can be frightening, especially when you don't understand why it's happening. This isn't your system breaking down. It's your system conserving energy. The nervous system sometimes reduces sensation to prevent overload. It's a protective pause, not a permanent state. In moments like these, people often worry they're losing control or becoming someone they don't recognize. But what's happening is a form of self-protection. an ancient response designed to reduce harm when escape or action isn't possible. The confusion comes from mistaking protection for dysfunction. If this resonates, take a moment here. Not to analyze or fix anything, just to notice yourself listening. You're not imagining these experiences, and you're not alone in them. Many people carry these reactions quietly, assuming they're the only ones struggling this way. They're not. Nothing you've heard so far means you're permanently stuck like this. And nothing about these patterns says anything negative about who you are as a person. They say something about what your system learned while trying to keep you safe. Right now, as you watch or listen, your brain is already doing something different. It's taking in information without immediate threat. It's staying present. That matters more than it sounds. Change doesn't begin with force. It begins with moments of safety like this one. So if you need permission to slow down, to breathe, or simply to keep listening, consider this your permission. You're allowed to understand yourself without rushing to become someone else. What you're experiencing often follows a very specific pattern. It's sometimes called a threat-response loop. It starts with a neutral trigger, a tone of voice, a pause, a memory, a bodily sensation. The brain scans it for meaning, compares it to past danger, and activates protection. Your body reacts. Your thoughts narrow. Your attention turns inward. Then comes the second part of the loop, interpretation. You notice the reaction and try to explain it. You might think, why am I like this? Or, I shouldn't be reacting this way. That self-questioning adds more tension, which signals even more threat to the brain. The loop tightens. What makes this pattern powerful is repetition. The more often it runs, the more familiar it becomes. And familiarity is something the brain mistakes for necessity. Understanding the loop doesn't stop it instantly, but it gives you something crucial, the ability to recognize when you're inside it, instead of believing the story it tells. Here's where the story begins to change. The brain is not a fixed structure. It's a living system shaped by experience. Just as it learned to protect through repetition, it can also learn to soften when safety becomes consistent. This capacity is known as neuroplasticity, and it's active throughout life. Change doesn't happen by erasing the past or forcing yourself to react differently. It happens by giving the brain new information, slowly and repeatedly, that the present is safer than what came before. Small moments of regulation, connection, and understanding begin to add up. This is why hope here is realistic, not abstract. What was learned in fear can be relearned in safety. The same brain that adapted to survive can adapt again to live more fully. Nothing about this requires perfection. It requires patience, repetition, and environments that support your nervous system instead of overwhelming it. Supportive change works best when it involves the whole system, not just the thinking mind. Grounding practices, for example, help by giving the brain clear sensory signals that the body is here and safe now. Slow, intentional movement or steady breathing patterns can gently reduce the speed of threat detection, allowing other brain systems to come back online. Connection matters for similar reasons. Safe, attuned relationships send powerful signals of predictability and support, which directly influence how the nervous system calibrates risk. Even brief moments of being understood can lower internal alarm levels. Expression also plays a role. Writing, speaking, or creative outlets help integrate experiences that were once held only in the body. And for many, working with a trained professional provides a consistent environment where safety and reflection coexist. These approaches aren't about fixing you. They work because they give the brain repeated evidence that it no longer has to stay on high alert all the time. When you look at these patterns through this lens, a different story emerges. What once kept you functioning, enduring, and alert doesn't have to disappear. It just doesn't have to run the whole system anymore. Survival skills are not flaws. They're evidence of intelligence under pressure. Integration isn't about becoming someone new. It's about allowing more parts of you to participate in the present. Little by little, moments of choice begin to appear, where there used to be only reaction. Not because you forced them, but because the nervous system learned it had more options. This shift happens in small, almost unnoticeable steps. A pause that feels slightly longer. A reaction that settles a bit faster. A sense of agency that returns without effort. None of this requires perfection. Progress here is measured in gentleness, not speed. Your past shaped how you survived. The present is where you practice living, with the same brain, now learning that safety can last longer than danger. If you're still here, and if it feels right, leave a comment that simply says, "I'm here." Not as a declaration of strength, but as a moment of presence. And today, choose one small action that signals safety to your bod. There's no rush to change everything. Understanding is already a step. You don't have to do this perfectly, and you don't have to do it alone. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to receive more content like this. Thank you for being here, exactly as you are. See you next time.